Alright dudes, welcome to the channel and welcome to the latest video. Small update this time. Not much has gone on since the last video. Just run out of stuff to, or materials to do anything on the car with. So it's been little bits of tidying up and little tiny odd jobs. On projects like this, full body projects, full conversions, it's always the little things that get you. It's the little things that mount up that turn into huge things that take the longest time. Things like on this, the bodywork, yeah, it's one massive deal to do all the bodywork, but you can break it down into smaller chunks. Those smaller chunks themselves are just ongoing on and on and on. But I have been chipping away, and I have done some things in the meantime since the last video. First thing I've done, I've remounted the front bumper. I've given it a protection coat of primer and satin black. It's what the two cans of paint I had lying around, just to give it a uniformity so that I could sand down the repair sections. It's not going to be perfect because it's going to have, well, the major section that was repaired in the middle there is going to have a number plate over it, and the bit at the bottom, it doesn't really matter. It's probably going to get smashed off on a curb or anything I hit. It's just going to smash the bottom of the bumper off anyway. So I'm not really bothered what the bumper looks like as long as it covers up the front of the car and there's no sharp bits sticking out of it. So it could go as it is, but there are some quite rough bits of body filler that we use to cover in the some of the cracks on the carbon fibre that I use to reinforce the bumper. So if we go down and have a look down here, I haven't sanded this yet, so and it does stick out quite a lot. So you've got smooth, and then this section is the repair, and then smooth over that side. This was done as well, but it's smooth along the front, so I'm not bothered about that bit. And this is the bit I managed to get that line roughly back in as well. It's only this section that was repaired, and here that's nice and flat now. So a number plate will go on the front of there, or a sticker of some kind, or something to cover that up, and the rest of it will be sanded smooth and painted blue eventually. Other things I've done, I've managed to get the passenger wing in place. That's now bolted in, and also made a bracket for the headlight. I'll show you that in a second. I've got something else to show you first. So I made a bracket for the headlight, shifted it up, and the front panel, it's all misaligned, it's all out of shape, so I've managed to bend it and get it into the right location, put some bolts in, and now the wing lines up, so that's not a problem. As I was saying on the first couple of videos, the reason there's a big gap behind here is because this bumper is designed for the later facelift micra kit car rather than the pre-facelift kit car. It was also only ever designed, this particular bumper anyway, was designed for the standard width car and not the maxi kit car. So this is a facelift non-maxi kit car bumper that's now on a pre-facelift maxi kit car kit. So there's been a lot of work to get it to fit, but it fits reasonably. It's not going to be, you're not going to have Lexus levels of panel gaps, because I mean this bumper's been, this grill has been shortened and then smoothed into the top of the bumper there, so it can all come off as one piece, because there is nothing to hold the grill in, and I wanted a grill. I didn't want to leave it open. What else? Yeah, the bumper's on quick release pins, so these pins here, you just push them and they pop off, and then the sides will be held in with Zeus fasteners, so that it will be literally the twist of a screwdriver and popping the pins out, and the bumper will come off in one piece. I received these a couple of years ago. This is a full decal kit for the car. It's an exact replica of the factory Nissan Motorsport Europe maxi kit car, with all all these little blue bits are the little sort of paint splashes, if you like, that come up from the blue into the white. And I've got to match that blue for the colour of the car. So it's going to be white on the top and blue on the bottom with these flashes coming up. Nissan Motorsport logos there. There's safety devices for the roll cage. When I get the roll cage repainted, these will be going back on in replacement of the ones that are in there. And if anybody's after any vinyl cutting, really good company, procutvinyl.co.uk. That's who cut my vinyl. So yeah, that's lots and lots of different small decals, some big ones, really big ones at the bottom there, the Clarion ones for the side, and the big one for the bonnet as well. So these will be going on after the car's painted, obviously. It'll be getting painted once I get all the welding and the bodywork done. It's going to be a long job, and it's going to be difficult with the painting, because in my wisdom, before I decided to make it a maxi kit car, I thought, you know what, I'll just make it look like one. So, as in, you know, the colours. So I decided, well, the blue that's the Nissan Motorsport Europe blue is pretty much the same as smooth hammerite blue. So I got a roller, having watched a few YouTube videos and had a look online and said, I wonder if you can paint roll hammerite onto a car. So that's what I did, and that's why you see the blue stripe down the bottom there. That was all done in blue hammerite. The problem with that is it's not smooth. So I mean, it's hammerite smooth. It's not hammered hammerite, but it's hammerite smooth paint, but it doesn't come out smooth. So you've got brush marks in it and roller marks and all sorts. So in order to paint the car, the wings are bare gel coat. So the whole body kit's bare gel coat, apart from the front bumper, which has been painted a few times. But the rest of the car will need stripping as far as I can get it back to stripping it. And then it will need a full respray in blue and white. Again, future project, nowhere near that stage yet. However, I do have to start looking at the intermediary processes before I get to that stage, in order that when I do arrive at wanting to do it, I am ready for it. If you bear with me, I'm going to put the camera down a second, and I'm going to clean up these decals. So, the other thing I've done, I don't know if you've noticed, what I had on it before, on the bonnet, were these cheap, nasty bonnet pins. They don't work, they go rusty, they don't fit properly, the equipment they come with is crap, and you can't get a rivet gun into that hole, so you have to make the hole bigger, which then bends it, which cracks the paint. They're just naff, they're crap, and they're not secure. Got my teeth in. The only way of making them secure is to drill a hole through the end of it, and put a safety wire onto it, like Shelby GT500. But the Shelby GT500 comes with proper stainless steel hardware, and not cheap, nasty, rusty crap from China. So I fitted these aero catches. Now these are flush to the bodywork. They come with 6 mounting bolts and a lockable tab, so that you can actually lock the bonnet, which is handy if you've got something expensive in there, like a motorbike engine, for instance. So they allow you to lock the bonnet. What they also allow you to do is keep a smooth and streamlined profile on the bonnet without something sharp sticking up. So there's nothing protruding there. It's nice and smooth. So let me pop these up for you and lift the bonnet. Now, in order to get the aero catches in, on this side, the tab the standoff, should I say, just bolted in exactly where the old one was, which is conveniently, it's a spot where the little rubbers used to screw in to adjust the bonnet height. So that one's in the right place, and it went in a treat. This one on here, the old one, was in a slightly different location to what I wanted. It wasn't in the right spot. Because all this has been bent and mangled, none of this was in the right place. So I pulled this out as much as I could, ground all the paint off, and then what I did was, this is the old hole here. I've welded some old bodywork that I cut out earlier underneath it, and then welded a washer under this side here to strengthen it. And then so that's all been welded round, and this has now been put into a new location, which matches up to here. In order to get these nuts in underneath the skin, I've had to cut away this section here of the bracing under the bonnet, so you can get a socket in there and it all clears, because there's quite a bit of back depth on these aero catches. So all this will need filing down or smoothing off with a flap wheel, and painting with some rust preventative and paint, and all the way around here as well. So hopefully they are roughly the same shape. I did draw a template out and try and get them in the right location. And I also gave, it's a bit dusty now and dirty, I gave the engine bay a quick clean as well. Some of the dirt won't come off because it's actually ingrained into the old paint, which has then been painted over, so it's a bit rough in there. But as you can see, the grille and the lights and everything are now mounted correctly. Still got the, sorry, I've moved the throttle cable around. Still got the throttle cable in here. I'm going to have a look. There's a little sort of 90-degree metal piece that you will have seen on the first video that I took out and laid on the pallet when I was bringing the engine in. I do need that piece because this is a bit of air hose and it's not sturdy enough. As soon as you pull that cable, it's going to start rubbing through here, and I need the 90-degree metal sleeve that came with that, so I'll have a look for that tomorrow. It's probably lying in the garden where I picked the pallet up, but anywho, so I tidied it all up, gave it a quick clean, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, the only things I'm going to be able to do from now until I start earning some money is tidy up stuff. So I've got some sandpaper. I've got a little mouse, one of those little Black & Decker mouse vibrating sander things. I've got a flap wheel on my grinder for the tough to reach places, and I've got some new wire in my welder for welding in patches to some of the structural places that it's needed. Other than that, it's just going to be sweeping up, tidying up, dusting down, tidying the garage floor because it's full of crap, and then hopefully by the time I get it into a position where I'm ready to start the engine, I'm able to afford to buy things like the stator and the cover. Fingers crossed that comes round. Obviously, with the situation in the world as it is at the moment, nothing's for certain, and it may come to a point where this goes on hold again and it gets mothballed to the point where I'm going to be locking the garage up and selling my other car to afford to run my house. I'm not asking for a sob. It's not a sob story, and I'm not asking for handouts or anything like that. This is just the situation we're in, and we're going to have to work around it. So, yeah, that's where I am. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to put some photographs up on Instagram and Facebook. I've got my Patreon page. If you want to become a patron, you can do to support the build. It does help. You can support the build with anything from $1 a month or whatever you want to do, or whatever you can afford. It does help me, and it does help the build continue to progress. I have done more in these last month and a half, 2 months, than I have done in the last 4 years with this car, basically because I've got a purpose to do it, and the goal for the build is to get out on track and drive the thing as hard as I possibly can, and get the best out of it I possibly can. And doing that whilst or building the vehicle whilst doing it for YouTube as well, it gives me a get up and go that you don't normally get in the morning, especially when you're on lockdown, you sat at home, you haven't got a job to worry about to go to, so you've got nothing to look forward to during the week. The days kind of blend into one. You're constantly stressed and worried about money, and you're trying to keep yourself busy so that you don't just waste away. And this is one of those things where I can get out of the house, leave the situation. No, it's not going out into the world, and seeing other people. But what it is doing is freeing me up from the same location and taxing my mind for workarounds and ideas and plans, and trying to design different ways around problems. That's keeping my mind fresh, and hopefully it'll serve me in good stead for when I do get another job. That I've kept my mind fresh by working on electrical, mechanical, and general fault finding and problems where the solution hasn't necessarily been available to me, but I've managed to find it, and that's something I've always been keen on doing, is finding solutions to problems that haven't really been readily available, and hopefully this is doing or fulfilling that side of my life that would normally be fulfilled with that in a job. So, but I do want to get back out there. It's still boring as hell sat at home, We all know anyway. We're all in the same location. We're all in the same boat as far as getting out and seeing the world's concerned. So hopefully we'll get back to that shortly. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Next video, again, will probably be a small update with just cleaning the car up, and if I find any issues, or if I manage to solve any of the big problems, like getting a differential or building a diff cradle, then you'll be the first to know. But thank you for joining me. Like I say, Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. Subscribe and like the video. Subscribe to the channel, and you shall see videos as soon as they're uploaded. Thank you very much.